Good morning. We'll get started today. You're all on mute. We'll get started today on our backs. And start with the soles of the feet on the mat, but wide toward the outer edges of the mat. Let the knees touch so they knock together. Bring the arms out by the sides. Rest the head. Close the eyes for a moment. And then without changing anything, just notice how you're breathing. Notice how the body's feeling. Kind of just scan around. See what's going on physically, maybe emotionally, without any judgment. Then start to take a deep breath in through the nose. Sigh it out the mouth. 2 more times, just like that. Deep breath in. Slow exhale out of the mouth, let it go. Last one. This time, breathe in through the nose. Keep the lips sealed. Slowly press the air out of the nose. Keep going with your Ujjayi breath. In through the nose, back out through the nose. Starting to land on your mat. And any thoughts or anything that's taking you away from the mat, try to push those away. Let those get farther and farther with each exhale. And do your best to be all here for your practice. Your breath is your best tool to do that. Bring the left hand onto the heart, right hand onto the belly. Keep breathing. Feeling that feedback underneath the hands. And then start to blink open the eyes. Heel toe the feet closer together so they're more like hip width distance. And then cross the right leg all the way over the left leg. So you want to cross as high up as you can with the inner thighs. And then just bring the knees in toward the chest. So right leg on top of the left. Bring the knees in. I'm grabbing onto that bottom knee to bring them in a little bit tighter. See if you can continue to rest the head. If it's lifted up a little bit, you could put a blanket underneath the head or a pillow. We won't be here for that long. And then keep the crossing of the legs, interlace the fingers back behind the head, and then rest the head on the hands. So legs are still the same. You could maybe move the knees away from you a little bit, and you could even play with eagle legs and bring that right foot toward the outer left calf. And that would help you engage the inner thighs. And then looking up, take an inhale where you are. Exhale, lift the chest and the shoulder blades up and then curl it all in. So knees come in toward the nose and then extend. So you keep the chest lifted. You're just going back like halfway. Exhale, curl. Inhale back about halfway. Exhale, curl. So you're keeping the core engaged the whole time. If you set the head back down, it'll relax. Exhale, curl back in. One more. Inhaling back. Exhale, curl. So come back, let the head rest, keep the legs. This time, left arm on top of the right arm. So you can stay with what we did if eagle arms is just too much to ask of the shoulders. If it's okay, try it with eagle arms. Otherwise, stick with what we did with the hands interlaced underneath the head. Left elbow on top of right if you're going for it. Lift the head and the shoulder blades up and away from the mat. Inhale, get a little longer. It'll be a shorter range of motion. Exhale, curl in. Maybe elbows touch the knees. Inhale, move the forearms away from the legs. Bring it back in on the exhale. Keep going. Inhaling for length. Exhale to curl. So you're in eagle, but on your back, playing with the core, heating it up, staying with your breath. One more. And then set everything back down, uncross the legs, the arms, and we'll switch sides. So this time, left leg crosses over the right leg, and we'll just start with bringing the knees in. So bring the knees in toward the chest. Maybe you grab that bottom knee. And this is a nice way to get into the outer left hip, glute, top of the thigh. Interlace the fingers back behind the head, rest the head on the hands, and then maybe you start to squeeze the legs a little bit more so that you feel the inner thighs engaged. Look up, take an inhale. On the exhale, lift the shoulder blades up and away from the mat and then curl in. Inhale, extend. Exhale, curl. So try not to rest the head. Inhale, extend. Exhale, curl. And you can kind of feel with the core when it starts to relax. You're trying to stay within that work zone with the breath. And if you need a break, rest the head, that's fine. But try to stay in it. We're not here for long. One more like this. Option to take eagle arms. You'll rest the head. This time, right arm on top of left arm. Lift the head and the shoulders. Inhale, extend. Exhale, curl. Keep playing with this motion. Stay with the breath. See how it feels on this side. One more. Uncross the legs, hug the knees in toward the chest. You can rock side to side. And then extend the legs out in front of you like Shavasana. Bring the feet wide so that they're at the outer edges of the mat. Clasp opposite elbows over the head. And then take this right foot, cross it over the left ankle. And then maybe you stay like this, or you lift the upper body and move it over to the left. Finding that banana shape in the whole right side of the body. And lengthening the core here. So we just built some heat. This is a nice stretch. Try to keep both shoulder blades on the mat, especially that right shoulder blade. And then you'll come back through to center, uncross the legs, stack the left ankle on top of the right, clasp opposite elbows the other way. Stay like this or lift the upper body and move it over to the right. Both shoulder blades on the mat. You're just looking up. Still squeezing the thighs together a little bit, not the tightest squeeze. You just want to keep them slightly engaged. And getting as long as you can in the left side of the body. Come back through to center with the upper body, uncross the legs, and then bring the knees in toward the chest. And you can rock side to side a little bit. And then you'll roll over to one side. Use the hands to bring yourself up to seated. And we'll come to tabletop, all fours. So once you come to tabletop, stack the shoulders over the wrists, hips over the knees. On an inhale, reach the heart forward. On the exhale, round the whole spine. So cat-cow, keep going on your own. Inhaling forward, exhaling back. Eyes open or closed. Try to involve the whole spine. One more cycle, forward and back. And then you'll come back to tabletop. Bring the knees all the way together and then separate the feet a little wider than hip width distance. If you have a block, it might be helpful to stick underneath the hips. You could also use a blanket. We're coming into Virasana. So moving the calf muscle out from to give the knees a little bit more space, you can sit between the heels. The hips need to touch something. So if they don't touch the mat, that's where you can use a blanket, but underneath the hips, there's enough space for that, or you can put a block underneath the hips. And if this is not working for you, you can just bring the feet and the knees all the way together and come to kneeling, or you can come to seated completely on your sit bones and just come to an easy cross-legged seat. Any of those options work. I really just want to get into the wrists here. So look at that right hand, palm facing away from you. Grab the pinky finger and use 2-3 fingers. See how much weight that can take. And you're just bending it back toward the forearm. And this is going to feel like we're not doing a whole lot, but your wrists are going to feel pretty amazing in your hands after. And I want to make sure that they're totally warmed up for our practice today. And then switch, go to your ring finger. So you're just doing one finger at a time, maybe 2 to 3 fingers. Unless you do this all the time, maybe you do more. And even though we use our hands a lot, we really need to be moving them in all directions. And we probably don't do a whole lot of movement with the fingers bent back like this. Change to the middle finger, start to bend that back. And then grab the pointer finger, index finger. Now the thumb. And the thumb might be able to take a little bit more weight. You just feel your way into it. Switching hands, grab that left pinky or the other hand if you started with the left. Ring finger, fourth finger. Breathing with your Ujjayi breath. Middle finger. Index finger. Thumb. Go back over to the right hand, do all 4 fingers. And see how much pressure you get there, being mindful of what it's feeling like in that right wrist. And then we'll switch hands. All 4 fingers on the left hand. Let that go. Shake out the hands and the wrists. So you're just shaking them out. And then open up the hands wide and then make a fist as tight as you can. And then open them wide and do that several times until you start feeling heat in the forearm. So you're squeezing as tight as you can and you're spreading as tight as you can. And you're going back and forth several times. And then let that go. Come forward onto hands and knees. Move any props out of the way if you're using them in your Virasana. Set them back to where you started. Hands down underneath the shoulders. Step the right toes back behind you and straighten that right leg. You can start to take circles with that right heel. So ball the foot down on the mat, taking some circles, opening up that leg, especially if you were in some kind of kneeling position like Virasana. And then switch sides, bring that right knee in, stretch the left toes back behind you, take some circles. Like you're drawing circles on the ceiling with that left heel. And then keep that left leg extended out and behind you. Try to firm up the legs. So you're stopping with the circles. You're coming into stillness. You're engaging the entire leg, even that inner thigh. Notice how the hips are. See if you can keep them level. Just step the right foot back and you're in plank pose, top of a push-up. Notice how the weight's falling into the hands and look at the hands. Make sure the tiger's eye, that fleshy part between the index finger and the thumb where the curve is pressing down into the mat. Heels of the hands are pressing into the mat, all 10 fingertips pressing into the mat. And then you're not rolling to the inner edges of the hands or the outer edges of the hands more than the other. It's really even. And then it's like you're pressing down into the mat with the hands, but the forearms are lifting away from the wrists. So that's the engagement we're looking for. Lower all the way down to the mat slowly, lying down onto your stomach. Tops of the feet to the mat, feet hip width distance apart. Walk the hands back and take a look at the arms. So you want the elbows and the wrists in line. Inhale up, cobra, just a baby one. Exhale, release, 2 more. Inhale up, cobra, hug those outer elbows in. Exhale, release, last one. Inhale up, press down into the pinky toe and big toe side of the foot. Exhale, release, back to hands and knees. Take a quick child's pose. Release those back bends, crawl the fingertips forward, bring the forehead down to the mat. And as you crawl the fingertips forward, arms are stretched out in front of you. You're squeezing the elbows together to keep those arms straight. Pressing down into the hands. Lift the gaze, look forward at the hands. Shift forward, tuck the toes, lift the hips up and back. Downward facing dog. Heels going down to the mat. If the legs are tight, you can widen the stance a little bit or pedal out the feet. Then from downward facing dog, step the right foot up between the hands. So hug the knee in toward the chest, step the right foot forward, set the back knee down. Then you can use blocks underneath the hands. We're coming into half splits. So you'll shift the hips back, coming up onto this front heel, push the heel forward a few inches so it feels like the right hip's next to the left hip, and then reach the chest forward. And it's like you're pulling that right heel in toward the body. So feeling a nice stretch in the back side of the right leg. You can stay like this or start to walk the hands over to the right. So maybe this left hand comes on the outside of the right leg. So still in half splits, but the chest is pointing to the right. Hands are outside the right leg. Blocks are fine underneath the hands, or maybe you're up on fingertips. And it just kind of changes the stretch. So maybe you're feeling it more on the outside of the right leg, where the IT band is, in addition to the underside of the right leg. Come back to center with your half splits. Shift forward onto the sole of the right foot. Tuck the back toes, lift the back knee. Left hand on a block or the mat right underneath the shoulder. Right arm reaches up for a twist. Make sure the right knee and the right toes are pointing straight forward. If they're leaning out to the right, then you need to widen this stance in your twist. And that left shoulder is moving away from the ear. Sometimes it wants to crawl up toward the ear. So make sure you pull it back if that's happening. Right hand comes down to the mat, straighten the front leg, fold over the front leg. Still on the ball of the back foot. Let the head of the neck go. And if you feel open enough, it's still early, so you can skip this if it's too much. You might be able to lift the toes on the right foot and have that feel good. If it doesn't, you just set the foot back down. And we'll all set the right foot down if it's lifted. Step back to downward facing dog. Left foot steps up between the hands. Set that back knee down, half splits. Shift the hips back to straighten the front leg. Push that left heel forward. Reach the chest forward. Try to take the rounding out of the upper back. And then just stay here. Take a few breaths. See how this is settling in the body and how the backside of the left leg feels. And now we'll start to play with walking the hands over to the left. Maybe this right hand goes on the other side of the left leg. Toes are still pointing up. It's still like you're dragging that left heel in toward the body as you reach over to the left. And then just notice where the opening in the leg has shifted. And there's still a little bit of scissoring of the inner thighs. Come back to center with your half splits. Shift forward onto the sole of the left foot. Tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, right hand underneath the right shoulder, left arm reaches up for that twist. Left knee and toes still pointing forward, right shoulder away from the ear. Open up across the chest. So you hug the belly in to open up the chest. Left hand comes down to the mat, straighten the front leg. You can walk the hands back too. That helps make it a little bit easier to start. Let the head and the neck go. Stay high on the ball of the back foot. So it's a modified pyramid. And then if you want, you could play with lifting the left toes up, coming up onto that heel, seeing if that's the right place for you to be. Skipping it if it's not. Left foot comes back down to the mat, plant the hands, step back to downward facing dog. Bend the knees, look forward, step, walk, bring the feet up between the hands, take your time, coming into a forward fold at the top of the mat. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Let's do that 2 more times. Ardha Uttanasana. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Last one. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. This time we're coming all the way up. Circle the arms all the way up to standing. Bring the palms together overhead and down in front of the heart. On an inhale, circle the arms all the way up. Exhale, forward fold. Bring it back down. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, hands to the mat, bend the knees to get there. Step back to plank pose. Lower all the way down to the mat. Tops of the feet down, walk the hands back. Bhujangasana, cobra. Exhale, release, downward facing dog. You could take hands and knees to get there, or tuck the toes, fire it up to plank, and push back to downward facing dog. Bend the knees, look forward, step, walk, bring the feet up between the hands. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, circle the arms all the way up to standing. Bring the hands together and down in front of the heart. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, hands to the mat, bend the knees, step back to plank pose, lower down halfway chaturanga, up dog or cobra. Exhale, back, downward facing dog. Bend the knees, look forward to the top of the mat, step, walk, float, bring the feet up between the hands. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way up to standing. Hands come together overhead, down in front of the heart. One more Surya A. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, hands down to the mat, step back to plank pose. Work your way through a vinyasa with your breath, making your way back to downward facing dog. Right leg lifts up and back. Bring the right knee over to the left tricep. So you're crossing over the body here. And then roll onto the inner edge of that back foot. So the sole of the left foot's on the mat. Extend the right leg forward. Reach the left arm up. So you're coming into fallen triangle. Sole of the left foot's on the mat. That's what helps you lift the hips up. Same with that outer edge of that right foot. Left hand comes back down to the mat. Right leg reaches up and back. Three-legged down dog. Step the right foot forward up between the hands. And then walk the hands back, straighten, hop that back foot in so you can get the whole sole of the foot down, and then straighten the front leg, fold over the front leg. So now you're in pyramid pose without the modification. Soles of the feet are down on the mat. Left toes point at 11 o'clock. Head and neck are going down. Totally released. Shoulders are moving away from the ears though, even here. And then start to look forward. Keep the feet the way that they are. Lunge that right knee forward. Press down into both feet. Reach the arms forward and up. Virabhadrasana 1. So warrior 1. Square the hips. Square the chest. Inner left thigh spinning back behind you. And you're reaching up. There is a little bit of a back bend. So hug the core in. Maybe the chest and the gaze lifts up. Then bring the gaze back forward. Open it up, warrior 2. Heel toe the right foot in a little bit. Spread the arms out wide. Flip the front palm up. Straighten the front leg. Reach that right arm up and back. Reverse triangle. So front leg straight, reaching up and back with that right arm. Then bend the right knee, keep reaching up and back. You're coming into reverse warrior. So everything stays the same. We're just adding that bend in the right leg. Windmill the hands down to the mat. Step back to downward facing dog or take a vinyasa, but we are going to be playing with that fallen triangle. So be mindful if you have any wrist, shoulder situations, be gentle. From downward facing dog, lift the left leg up and back. Left knee, right tricep. Feel the obliques hug in. And then start to roll onto the inner edge of the right foot, sole of the foot down. Extend that left leg forward. Reach the right arm up. Sole the right foot's down on the mat, outer edge of the left foot. Press up into the feet, or press down into the feet to lift the hips up. Right hand comes back down to the mat. You come onto the ball of the back foot. Stretch that left leg up and back, three-legged down dog. Left foot steps up between the hands. Hop that back foot in and turn the toes out just to about 1 o'clock. Straighten the front leg, fold over the front leg. Let the head and the neck go. The closer in, like underneath the shoulders, the hands are, the easier this is. So if you're feeling like this is difficult, walk the hands back. If you want more, walk the hands forward. And you should feel a difference in the legs when you move the hands. Then begin to look forward, bend that left knee, press down into both feet, reach the arms forward and all the way up, Vira 1. And the legs should feel a little stronger here in your Virabhadrasana 1, coming from Parsvottanasana. So it's a strengthening pose, it lengthens, and then you take it up into Warrior 1. You have that lunge into the front leg. Maybe the back bend starts to come. Maybe the gaze starts to lift up if you're feeling pretty good. Then you'll bring the gaze back forward. If you lifted it, Warrior 2. Heel toe the left foot in a little bit. Spread the arms out wide. Probably need to lengthen the stance. Should be a little bit longer than your warrior one. So a lot of footwork. Put some weight in the back leg. So if you feel like you're heavier in that left leg, get some more weight into the right leg. Make it feel a little bit more even. Then flip that front palm up, straighten the front leg, reach up and back, reverse triangle. So peel that left hip away from the left thigh as you reach up and back, but try to keep space in the whole right side of the body. Then bend that left knee straight forward, reverse warrior. Still reaching away from the left thigh. And moving that left knee more toward the pinky toe side of the foot so it doesn't cave in. And then we'll windmill the hands down to the mat, step back to downward facing dog, decide, stay here, or maybe take a vinyasa, a modified vinyasa. You're welcome to skip it. Make sure the heels of the feet are hiding behind the balls of the feet. So they kick out a little bit, and that gives you some space in the lower back. Hug the belly in your downward facing dog. And then we'll all bend the knees, look forward to the top of the mat, walk, step, bring the feet up between the hands. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Chair pose, bend the knees, reach the arms up. Take a look at the feet. Make sure you can see all 10 toes. Pull those knees and hips way back. Lift the chest. Hug the core in so it's not dropping down toward the thighs. Press all the way up to standing. Hands come together, down in front of the heart. Hug the right knee in toward the chest. So you'll start to shift the weight over to the left leg. Hug the right knee in. Keep the left hand on the right knee, reach the right arm up toward the sky, and notice if that right hip's lifting. So level off the sit bones, make sure those are even, and then reach back with that right arm, finding a twist. So that right knee's guiding forward, right arm's reaching back, hug the core in, and you reach back as far as you can. Maybe the gaze goes with you. Then start to bring the gaze back forward. Reach the arms all the way up, facing forward. Maybe you extend that right leg forward. Feet step side by side. Bend the knees, sit back, chair pose, looking forward or maybe even up. Bring the weight into the heels. Hug the core in even here. Then press yourself back up to standing. Hug the left knee in toward the chest. Go slow, find a drishti in front of you. Once you have the knee in, level off the sit bones, press that right thigh back, the standing leg. Right hand stays with the left knee, reach the left arm up. Once the hips are level, reach that left arm back, start to open up across the chest. So you're reaching back and pulling that left knee forward at the same time, trying not to let that left hip lift. And make sure you have energy in that left foot so it's not just hanging in space. Core is wrapping around the spine, trying to twist it even more. Stand as tall as you can. Start to bring the gaze back forward if you looked back. Reach the arms forward and all the way up. Maybe extend that left leg forward, lifting it as high as you can. Left foot steps next to the right foot. Bend the knees, sit back, Utkatasana chair pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, hands down to the mat. Step back to downward facing dog. Lift the right leg up and back. Right knee, left tricep. Fallen triangle. Come onto the sole of the left foot, extend the right leg out, lift that left arm up, lift the hips up, push the mat away from you. Left hand comes back down to the mat, three-legged down dog. Lift the right leg up and back. Then step the right foot forward, up between the hands. Hop that back foot in so you can seal the heel down to the mat. Straighten both legs, fold over the right leg, Parsvottanasana, pyramid. Hands can go up more if you're not feeling much. Then bend the right knee, press down into both legs. So try to get some weight into the back leg, then reach the arms forward and all the way up. Virabhadrasana 1, square everything forward. Open it up, warrior 2. Flip the front palm, straighten the front leg, reach up and back, reverse triangle. Send that right knee straight forward, reverse warrior. Windmill the hands down to the mat. Any way you want, back to downward facing dog. Take it or leave it with the vinyasa. Left leg reaches up and back. Left knee, right tricep. Bring the sole of the right foot down. Extend that left leg forward. Reach the right arm up. Lift the hips. Right hand comes down to the mat. Three-legged down dog. Left leg goes up and back. Step that left foot up between the hands. Hop that back foot in. Straighten the front leg. Pyramid pose, Parsvottanasana. Let the head and the neck go. Play with where you want the hands. Find a feel good stretch in the legs while strengthening them at the same time. So the big toe mound of that left foot's pulling that left hip back and the right hip comes forward at the same time. All right, put a bend in that left knee, even out the weight in both legs, and then reach the arms forward and up, Vira 1. Open up, warrior 2. Flip that front palm, straighten the front leg, reach up and back, reverse triangle. Send that left knee straight forward, maybe to the left a little bit, reverse warrior. Hands come down to the mat, step back, downward facing dog. Stay here or take a vinyasa. Bend the knees, look forward to the top of the mat, bring the feet up between the hands. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Bend the knees, come into chair pose. All the way up to standing, hands come together, down in front of the heart. Find a focal point in front of you. Shift the weight over to the left foot. Hug the right knee in toward the chest. Stand tall, push that left thigh back. Hanging onto the left knee, reach the right arm up. Now you can stay hanging onto the left knee, reach that right arm back, or you can play with grabbing the outer edge of the right foot, extending that right leg forward. It doesn't have to be all the way straight. So if you have a bend in the leg, that's totally fine. If it's straight, that's fine too. Just stand as tall as you can, level off the hips. Maybe the gaze goes back. Then look back forward. Ooh, reach the arms all the way up, extend that right leg forward, and then step the feet side by side. Sit back, chair pose. Press back up to standing. Left knee comes in toward the chest. Press that right thigh back, lift the chest so you're standing up really tall. Left arm reaches up. Reach it back, coming into the twist. Stay like this, hanging onto the knee, or maybe you grab the outer edge of the left foot, play with extending the leg forward. That right thigh needs to go back, chest needs to lift. You can change the gaze if you're feeling pretty good. Then bring the arms back forward, extend that left leg forward, step the feet side by side, bend the knees, chair pose on the inhale. Exhale, Uttanasana, straighten the legs, let the head and the neck go. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, bend the knees, plant the hands, step back to downward facing dog. Just go straight there. Reach the right leg up and back. Right knee, left tricep. Little different this time. Come onto the sole of the left foot. Maybe you grab the outer edge of that right foot and extend it forward. Hip can go down a little bit, or stick with fallen triangle. That's fine too. We're just playing. Left hand goes down, right leg goes up and back. Step the right foot through all the way up between the hands. Hop that back foot in, straighten the legs, square the hips, Parsvottanasana. Then look forward, put a lunge in that front knee, even out the weight in both legs so it's not all in the front leg. Reach the arms forward and up, Vira 1. From here, bring the hands together down in front of the heart. Press into the hands to keep the chest open. Start to lean forward. If you can, keep that left heel down on the mat and twist to the right. Maybe that you don't touch anything with that left elbow. Maybe you tap the left elbow on top of the right thigh. Some of you might be able to hook the elbow outside of the thigh. And if that left heel needs to go up, that's fine. You can turn it into a lunge. But if you can keep the warrior 1 legs and find the twist and breathe, then stay there. Then come back to center, reach the arms forward and all the way up, warrior 1. Open it up, warrior 2. Flip that front palm, straighten the front leg, reach up and back, reverse triangle. Let's add a triangle this time. Spread the arms out wide, reach forward, feel the hip shift back, right arm goes down, left arm reaches up. Reverse warrior, bend the front knee, reach up and back with that right arm. Windmill the hands down to the mat, step back to downward facing dog. Take a few breaths here. Left leg reaches up and back. Left knee, right tricep, get it up high. Roll onto the sole of the right foot. Maybe you grab the outer left foot. Extend the left leg forward. Hips might dip a little bit. See if you can lift them up a little higher. Then right hand comes down. We all come back to 3-legged down dog. Step that left foot forward all the way up between the hands. Now hop the right foot in, closer to the left. Straighten the front leg, fold over the front leg. Maybe the hands walk forward if you're feeling pretty open. Look forward, start to bend the left knee. Press down into both legs. Reach the arms forward and up, Vira 1. Square the hips, square the chest. Bring the hands together right in front of the heart. Start to lean forward. Keep the weight in both legs. Just bring the chest forward. Open the chest to the left. Already in a twist here. Maybe you stay here if you're getting the most length in the spine. Maybe you tap the elbow on top of the left thigh. Maybe you hook the elbow outside of the thigh. And this side might feel different than the first side. It definitely does for me. Slowly start to make your way back to your warrior 1. Reach the arms forward and all the way up, taking time in the transition. Open it up, warrior 2. Flip the front palm, straighten the front leg, reach up and back, reverse triangle. Coming into triangle, stand up tall, stretch that left arm forward, bring it down, right arm reaches up. Trikonasana. Reverse warrior. Bend that left knee, reach up and back with the left hand. Windmill the hands down to the mat. Step back to downward facing dog. Last vinyasa, if you want one, you can skip it and stay in downward facing dog. If you take it, make it a good one. And then once you get to downward facing dog, bring the knees down to the mat, take child's pose, big toes together, sit the hips back. Maybe you even walk the hands back, giving the shoulders a break. So back to the hands on the mat, outside the feet, if the arms are back. Then bring the hands underneath you, start to lift the chest and the head, come forward onto your stomach. So lie down onto your stomach, walk the feet back. And we'll do back bends prone today. So tops of the feet come to the mat, reach the arms back behind you. And it's like you're squeezing a beach ball between the hands and trying to lift it away from the hips. Press down to the tops of the feet, then lift and spread the chest. Think about the heart reaching forward and the tailbone reaching back. So you create that length in the whole backside of the body. And release. Make a pillow with the hands. Turn the head one way. Let the ankles roll out. Be heavy. And we'll come back into it. Tops of the feet press down. You hug those outer ankles in. Stretch the arms back behind you. Grab that beach ball. Lift it. Lift the chest. Heart goes forward. Tailbone goes back. Belly hugs in. Try not to roll to the inner edges of the feet. And slowly release. Make a pillow with the hands. Turn the head the other way. Let the feet go. Let everything go. So the whole backside of the body releases. And we'll do one final round of that. I'll give you another option. Tops of the feet press down, reach the arms back behind you, hang onto that beach ball, lift it away from the hips, lift the chest, maybe the feet hover, but it's not about the height of the feet. It's about pulling the feet away from you. Someone has your feet and they're pulling them back as you're reaching forward, pulling the tailbone back. See if you can lift the beach ball any higher and slowly release. Turn the head the other way. If you don't have any lower back stuff, you could bend the legs and move the feet side to side. And then set the feet back down. Cactus the arms. So you're making like goalpost arms. Bring the left side of the face onto the mat and bring the right knee out to the side. So it's just in line with the hip. And you'll just rest like this. If the neck feels okay, you could turn the head the other way. You could always try it, see if it works. If it doesn't, look toward the bent leg. And then start to lift the head, bring that right leg back behind you, switching sides. Left knee comes out to the side, inner edge of the foot down. Bring that right side of the face back down onto the mat. So you're looking to start in the same direction as that bent leg. And then maybe you turn the head the other way. So you'll feel that twisting in the cervical spine when you do that. If it's working, stick with it. You know, you can always turn back if it's not. Start to lift the head. Bring that left leg back behind you. Bring the hands underneath you. Come back up onto hands and knees, and we'll come to seated. So bring the feet over to one side. Extend the legs out in front of you. And hug this right knee in toward the chest. So sole of the foot still down on the mat. Sit bones are still down on the mat. Reach that right arm back behind you, and you're just stretching it back behind you. You can stay like this, hanging on to the right knee, or you can lean back a little bit, grab the outer edge of the right foot, and maybe extend the right leg as you reach back. And you can look forward if the balance is a little bit off. You can look back at that right hand, and you're just stretching that right arm back behind you and pushing that right foot up toward the sky. So we played a lot with this. Thought it'd be fun to do this with our twists too. All right, if you have the foot, start to bend the leg, set the foot back down. We'll all bring the chest back forward. Right leg. Let's do Janu Shashasana. Bring the sole of the right foot inside of the left leg. Reach the arms up. Center the chest with the left toes and start to fold over this left leg. So you want the hands to rest on something, the mat, the leg. If the foot's right there and you're not stretching to reach it, you could do that. And if that's feeling like it's really close, you could always put a block behind the foot and then grab onto the block. Let the head and the neck go. Bringing the head down toward the knee. Both hips on the mat. All right, slowly make your way back up to seated. Use the right hand to bring the right knee back to center and extend the left leg. And you'll start to bring that left foot in. Grab onto the left knee with the right hand. Reach back with the left hand, the left arm. Maybe you lean back a little bit, grab the outer edge of the left foot and straighten the leg. You can skip it all together and just do our standard twist if that's not happening. So either one. But you're stretching that left arm back. It's like you're trying to reach, but that left foot's pulling you forward at the same time. So it should feel pretty steady, or maybe you're rocking forward and back a little bit. See if you can stabilize. And then you'll slowly start to come back to center. So bring this left knee in toward the chest, set that left foot down, come back to facing forward. We'll transition to Janu Shashasana. Left knee comes out to the side, sole the left foot inside of the right leg. Reach the arms all the way up, center the chest with the right toes, and fold forward over the right leg. And start to release, making your way back up to seated. Use the left hand to bring the knee back to center, extending the left leg forward. Reaching the arms all the way up on the inhale. Fold forward on the exhale. Paschimottanasana, seated forward fold. And you'll start to make your way back up to seated. To close your practice, you can do Shavasana or a seated meditation, whichever one's calling to you. Lie down onto your back if you're taking Shavasana. Maybe prop yourself up on a block or a cushion if you're doing a seated meditation, a blanket even, or the mat. The mat's fine too. Finding your comfortable seat. Closing the eyes wherever you are. Taking a deeper breath in through the nose wherever you are. Back out through the nose. Starting to come into stillness and scanning the body now. Seeing how different you feel compared to when we first started. What came up at the beginning of your practice? And is it still there now? How has it changed? And allowing any distractions or thoughts that would take you away from being present on your mat to just keep on going by. Let them pass through. If you're in your seated meditation, continue to stay there. If you're in Shavasana, start to wiggle the fingers and the toes, getting some movement back into the body, preparing to slowly transition, reaching the arms overhead, finding a stretch, waking up a little bit more, then walking the feet in, bending the legs, and rolling over onto one side, cradle the head on the arm. Using the hands, bring yourself up to an easy cross-legged seat, sitting up tall, coming into your meditation seat. Noticing how quickly you can find that perfect spot, mentally and physically. We'll all bring the hands together in front of us. Let's bow the head, maintaining the lift of the chest. Take a moment to honor and acknowledge your heart and your spirit, as well as everyone around you, near and far. Bring the head back up, blink open the eyes. Namaste. Thanks so much for joining today and sharing your practice. I'll see you next time.